Ronnie Shields, I would say the Ronnie, outside of knowing everything about US and the world boxing, there is not many trainers in US who know more about Polish fighters, one way or another. Adamek, obviously Artur Szpilka, and now Maciek Sulęcki. Does the knowledge of the Polish fighter mentality, everything which is which comes with being a Polish fighter, it's gonna help you and Jermall, or not really?
No, I mean because it's different fighters. You know, everybody's different. So you know, although I've been watching a lot of tape of Magic, and but and although I know Spilka, and I know Tomas, and I know a few other Polish guys. I mean everybody's different though. Everybody's not the same.
You mentioned that you watched Maciek Sulęcki, call him Magic, Magic tapes.
Magic.
Are you watching those main fights, the fights he lost and won? Let's say Daniel Jacobs, Gabe Rosado, Demetrius Andrade. Which one are the most interest for you?
The most interest for me was the Gabe Rosado fight and the Danny Jacobs fight,
Hmm.
and that's the two fights basically. I just started watching the Danny Jacobs fight, but I did watch the whole fight with him and Gabe Rosado.
And what's the most important thing you're watching? I'm not going to tell you how you're going to fight or how Jermall is going
No,
to
no.
fight Maciek. I'm not going to ask you that. But watching those two fights, what do you see?
Well, I say he's a good fighter. You know, he he has a good jab and he runs combinations behind his jab, which is a good thing. You know, so this is the reason why this guy is rated, you know, in the top six in the WBC because obviously, he's a good fighter. And he went to distance with Danny Jacobs. He went to distance with Demetrius Andre. You know, and at the time when Gabe Rosado was really on the uprise, he beat a really good fighter in Gabe Rosado. So that let me know that he's a really good fighter. So I try to compare what I know Jamal can do to what those other guys he's fought has done. And and I like what I see as far as knowing how Jamal fights.
Question: the last Jermall fight versus Montiel was
Yeah,
versus the guy who basically wants to knock you out. I mean, as
yes,
far as I remember, he was like 23 wins, 23 KOs, Montiel.
yes,
And now you have Maciek Sulęcki, whose strength is not the single shot. It's more like I'm gonna I'm gonna make you tired. I'm gonna make you miss my punches, and I'm gonna counterattack you. Completely different styles of fighters. I
yes.
mean, but I know you prefer Jermall for everything possible. But two completely different fighters. This is something. One of the reasons why you said, "Let's get this guy." We learning all the time.
Oh, absolutely. The thing about boxing is, you have to learn every style. And for me, being an ex-fighter and being a trainer, I mean, I've seen everything. I mean, it's
Yeah.
rarely somebody's going to show me something that I haven't seen before. So, so I know just about every style that's out there. And, Magic doesn't have a very difficult style, but he has a lot of heart and he's a difficult fighter, you know. And, I mean, look, when you're fighting for the world title, you know you have to be something special. You have to be a special fighter. You have to train a certain way. You can't train the same as if you're just going in saying I'm just fighting anybody. It's a difference. And so I put in what I know a guy who wants to be world champion. And I know this guy wants to be champion of the world. You know, Jermall is already there. He knows what it's like, but he also knows what it's like, how he got there. Somebody just didn't give him a world title. You have to fight for it. And plus, you have to fight to defend it. It's harder to defend than to keep it. Than fighting. It's harder to defend the title than just fighting for the title. Because for the title, you have to go all out. You have to put everything that you have into it in order to win. But once you win the world title, now the difficulty comes to keeping it because nobody wants to relinquish the title. So you have to even train harder to keep it than to fight to defend, to say this is my first defense of a world title or I'm fighting for a world title. I got to train even harder. So, so it's two different things, two different levels of boxing that you have to go through. Jermall has passed okay, I won the world title twice, junior middleweight and middleweight, but now I want to keep defending that. And I know it's harder to defend than it is just to fight for it.
I know you saw everything, just like you told us a minute ago. You saw everything, but everything what you're saying, Jermall also understands because some of the Jermall, yeah, some of the voices I heard immediately after Steven Espinoza and PBC announced this fight is like, oh, he's getting some guy. I mean, another easy guy or easier guy. There was talks about Munguia. Before was obviously Canelo. Now we have Maciek Sulęcki. Any chance the Jermall Charlo is gonna? Okay, let's call him the Hitman. As far as I know, this is his nickname.
Yeah.
Any chance he's gonna just say, okay, maybe he's not as dangerous, and the previous guys mentioned I supposed to fight. Any chance, or you're not going to let him do it, correct?
Well, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something about Jermall Charlo. Jermall Charlo is one of the hardest working fighters I've ever worked with. This guy, he trains hard, he works hard, and he gives everything in the gym that he has to give. And this guy, he don't take anybody lightly, no matter who it is. Of course, we were trying to get the fight with Canelo. Canelo didn't want to fight, so he went over. He moved up to light heavyweight because they didn't want to fight Jermall. So you know what? No problem. There's other fighters out there. So now it was Jaime Munguia. They didn't want to fight. I think the kid really wanted to fight. I think he wanted to fight, but it was Golden Boy. They scared to lose their fighter because they scared of losing something. So they pulled him out. So now, look, Jermall has to fight somebody. So we go in the top 10, and and they came out with with your guy Maciek Sulęcki. So he's the guy. Boxing doesn't stop because you can't always fight the top guys. You still this is why you have contenders for the world championship. Jermall can fight anybody from 1 to 15. That's rated in his division that he's championing. So we went to the number 1 guy. He didn't want it. So now we're at the number 5 guy. He said, yes, I'll take it. It's an opportunity. In the sport of boxing, everybody doesn't get this opportunity to fight for a world title. So, although Jermall wanted to fight Canelo, the fight didn't happen. It didn't materialize. So you know what? We have to move on. We did. We moved on to Munguia. They didn't want it, and he's the number 1 guy in the division. So now we're at the number 5. So we went from Canelo to Munguia to now Sulecki. So this is where it's at. This is the sport of boxing. And people can say or do anything they want to do, but Sulecki he's an opponent that's fought for the world title before, and and he's a really good opponent. So we can't take him lightly, because if we do, this guy allowed to beat us, and we're definitely not going to take him like we haven't taken anybody lightly.
It makes so much sense because, like you just said, like you said about fighters who fight for a championship. I mean, this is completely different state of mind. This is, you do stuff that you never thought you could. I mean, we saw it countless times. There's countless examples of fighters who in championship fights were 3 times better they ever been. There is no doubt. We know this is something special. But when I read about and I watched obviously Jermall for a long time. It's what you just said. It's about unbelievable work ethic. He never takes a day off.
Never.
He works 100% every time. When you first start working with him, he was the same. So this is what you liked from the beginning, or he had to develop this unbelievable work ethic.
Let me tell you something. The good thing is when I first started working with Jermall Charlo, we had Evander Holyfield, Pernell Whitaker, Magic Taylor, Livingston Bramble, Rocky Lockridge, and so many other countless guys in the same gym that were already world champions. So he's coming in and he's watching these guys, how they work hard. And he said one day, these guys are champion. Why are they working so hard? I say it's harder. You have to work harder to keep it than to fight for it. So, nobody wants to be champion and lose the belt. You want to keep that belt as long as you can. So in order to do that, you have to work hard. But you have to work hard to get there. Getting there and getting there, it's a lot of hard work. But if you want to keep it, you got to work harder to keep it. So he's always had that mentality that I got to work hard to get there. I got to work harder to keep it. So and that's the only mentality he knows. And so that's what he does. He knows he's champion now.
Did you already? Yeah, people are saying that about, it's harder to keep something you win basically in any sport than actually win it. But you have to be there to understand, to be as a trainer, and be as a fighter, Jermall. So you've been there. You lost the title with fighters. You won the titles with fighters. You know the differences. But going back to Jermall, if I may, did you already have the conversation with him about Sulecki or how it works in a team Charlo or team Ronnie Shields? He's just leaving you everything. Okay, watch the tapes, prepare, give me what I'm supposed to do, or he's doing his own thing, like watching the fight or giving you, back and forth conversations.
Well, so here's how I do it with him. I watch the tapes first. Then I tell him what tapes to watch. Then I don't watch full tapes with him. I just show him things that the other guy does best, and I show him things that the other guy doesn't do so good. And so I go back and compare different fights, right? So I'll pick out something that he does really well, then I pick out something that he doesn't do so well. And then I go to the middle. He does this so good, just a little bit, and then it's not so good, just a little bit. So, but then I watch it with him, not the whole thing, but just I may pick out certain rounds or certain fights that I want him to watch. And we'll watch those rounds over and over and over, especially the good rounds. I want him to see what the guy does best. Look, I say, look at this round. He does this so good. And then we go back to this round. Now, I don't know if he lost focus in this round or whatever, but now look at the difference. So we got to compare the good with the bad.
Then you know what? Basically everything what you said, you have in one fight, Gabe Rosado fight. when he was
Yes.
completely dominating. I mean, schooling Gabe Rosado. It was like a master and like second grader, and then everything
At
changed.
the end, everything changed at the end. Yes, everything changed at the end. And so, and that's, I haven't even talked to him yet about any of this, so, but he knows within the next 12 weeks, we're 14 weeks away now. So in the next 12 weeks, in the next 2 weeks rather, I'll be getting the video to show him what I mean. In the meantime, he's watching the same fight. So when I go to him, he's going to know exactly what round I'm talking about. He's going to know, as like with the Danny Jacobs fight, he's going to watch that within the next couple of weeks, and he'll study for the next 2 weeks, and then I'll study for the next 2 weeks, and then once we come together, I even go to him, what round do you want to watch? And he'll go to me, he'll say, okay, this was a great round for him doing this, and then this other round wasn't so good. So, then we'll sit back and then we'll go to his style and see what we can do better to help us when he's really good, and then what we can do better for when he's not so good.
This is fascinating stuff. Ronnie, we have almost exactly 3 months to the fight.
Right.
So you've been always great to everyone who knows you. I mean, I'm not saying this because I know you 20 plus years. I don't even want to know
Right.
and show off how old we are. I mean, me, you're a young man. so, but you're always very fair. I mean, I don't know anyone in the boxing business who can say a bad word. I mean, people actually have something to say. I mean, about you. So I'm going to bother you probably for the next couple of months. I promise not every day or not every week. And I appreciate the time. Not many trainers, world-class trainers like you, they have time to talk. And I know everyone who had the contact with you, Tomek Adamek. When you say Ronnie Shields, I love it. Artur Spilka, I don't know if he has the poster of you on his wall or not. I don't know yet. Maybe he does. But you always you were always very fair to everyone. So what I'm going to say, of course, I'm going to pull for Maciek Sulęcki. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I can be your friend, but I have to pull for Maciek, and I will.
Absolutely. Hey, so
There's nothing wrong with this.
worry.
I mean,
No.
you agree.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
So, like I said, thank you very much. Let the best man win. I mean, This is how it works, correct?
Boxing is a sport, and as always, the best man is going to win. Simple as that. It's nothing, we can have 1 million people in that arena rooting for one person, and only one person rooting for the other. That's not going to change it inside the ring, though. It is what it's going to be. So I know both guys are going to train hard. Both guys are going to be in the best shape they could possibly be in, and and I know he's going to have a game plan, just like we're going to have a game plan, and may the best game plan win. Simple as that.
As simple as that. Looking forward to have a glass of mineral water with you, maybe a week before the fight, and maybe
Absolutely.
a day after. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of Polish fans. There's a lot of Polish fans in Texas. A lot of Polish fans are going to fly in, and I'm going to love this atmosphere in always very friendly, happy Texas. And I know you. I know a little bit of how professional Jermall is. So looking forward to June 18. Thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the rest afternoon. Thank you very much, Ronnie.
Thank you. You have a good one too.